reporter who's out covering breaking news this weekend. Bob, I know that you had an opportunity to cover this fire, that 2041 Appalachian Drive, early this morning. I think it's fair to say from
Hello.
the video that we're looking at here,
Yeah.
extensive damage to this home and unfortunately a fatality in this case.
It was,
At your mama's
I'd
house.
say it's a total loss. They had to
Okay,
call
come
in
on.
even an hour after the
They
fire
got her
started
out.
for more help.
They
Volunteers
got
had at least 6 or 7 fire trucks there,
Her out.
different companies. And you'll see in a little
It's
bit
bad.
how they actually had to pull water
Come on.
to get enough water. And as you can see, it's a very, very hot fire.
In fact, this fire causing damage not only to the structure where it started, but also to the neighboring structure burned pretty severely as well.
Yeah, it was a real hot fire. It came in about 12:30 a.m. this morning. A lot of folks, volunteers, turned out. Took them quite some time to get it under control. Well, I did talk with one of the eyewitnesses that did gain entry to the house in the back bedroom where the gentleman that died was there, and he said that when he got there that his mattress was completely engulfed and he wasn't able to get access to the individual that burned. They think it was possibly set by possibly a cigarette. And he did smoke, and since the mattress was inflamed, that's kind of what they were thinking may have happened.
Now, what we're being told by witnesses, some individuals close to the family, is that this individual is Jeff Mariano, who was an individual who had been staying in the home for some time. Again, that is not official confirmation from the public safety office in Henry County, but we do hear this from someone close to the family. What's particularly tragic here, Bob, is that we understand there were guests actually staying in these homes due to a recent death in the family. That's particularly sad, I think.
It is 3 days ago. I had a brother that died of cancer at UVA, I believe, and they were preparing for that funeral for Wednesday, and then this happened. So obviously they got a very tragic situation for the family, to say the least.
Certainly huge burden to bear there already, the stress surrounding this other death in the family, and now this. And another thing that's particularly sad here is we were informed by some of the family that these two structures were not insured as well.
Yeah, that makes it a whole lot worse. City police were actually, I believe, the first ones on the scene, right there real close, and there were several animals that perished in this fire, several cats and dogs. There was one dog that they escaped. The city police were able to get that dog and tie it up on the property. So there was several animals that was lost also.
What we, of course, don't know at this point is, what sort of fire alert system may have been in place, if any, if that was functioning. That'll be part of the fire investigation. Oftentimes, even in a fairly devastating fire, they're able to determine whether or not, let's say, the fire alert or fire alarms in the residence were working or not. And we want to emphasize how important that is for your safety and the safety of your loved ones to have working fire alarms in your residence.
Absolutely. And even in this case, like I said, we don't know, but usually when I get on the scene like that, you can hear the alarms going off. I didn't hear any, but I would say that if they had a fire alarm, it could have saved the life. Or again, we don't know if they had one or if it was functioning. Those things are usually pretty loud and will wake you up. Just a horrific, again, tragedy here with the loss of life.
Of course, we know, Bob, we've heard fire investigators say this many times, fire typically doubles in size every minute or two, so it's not something that to play around with at all. The more early warning you can get, the better. The more fire safe you can make your home, the better. It's always a good idea not only to have fire alarms, but if at all possible, have fire extinguishers, particularly in areas like the kitchen of your home or more fire-prone areas, and have an escape route, have a plan for how you're going to get out of the residence. If you have a family, have a place where you all meet up that's pre-planned, and practice that, just like a fire drill, like you would at school or at work.
Absolutely. And there was some mention that they had put in a ceiling fan a day or two, and there was some question as to maybe if that may have overheated and started this fire. So again, it's still undetermined. doesn't seem to be any foul play, anything of that nature, but they're trying to determine exactly what sparked this blaze.
Indeed, folks, we will be following this story. Again, a fatal house fire at 2041 Appalachian Drive in the Fieldale community of Henry County, Virginia, occurring in the early morning hours this Monday, May 7th. The call came in at approximately 12:30 a.m. We can tell you right now that at least one individual has been determined to have passed away or who have died in this fire. We are told, again, by sources close to the family, that this individual is Jeff Mariano. We have not received official confirmation from Henry County fire investigators on that name or any other details except for what we have mentioned, the fact that they are investigating at this point in time. Just a valiant effort here on the part of the firefighters. This was a very intense blaze.
It was. You could feel the heat from some distance. There was an oil tank at the backside that they were concerned about erupting. That was one of their main focal points, to make sure that didn't erupt. And as you can see, it's just moving across the house as we speak.
And anytime that you have fire coming out of a roof like this, you know obviously the inside is completely engulfed. And of course there's a risk here, particularly with this residence, and you'll see this in footage we shot this morning a little more clearly, but this is a sloping lot, and you're looking at a wall there on the backside of this home that's quite tall, and it looks as though a huge portion of that wall collapsed over the course of this fire.
And this lady that lived there did a lot of handiwork, and she just had a real stockpile of nice quilts and things of that nature, and that certainly adds fuel to the fire, and all that's just a total loss.
We can see firefighters taking a defensive strategy there, fighting the fire from the outside of the residence, spraying water as best they can. Obviously, you cannot enter a residence that is this fully engulfed. It's just not safe by any measure, but huge flames coming through the roof of this home. I don't know that I've seen a house fire this intense in quite some time, Bob.
You're right. It's been some time. And you know, you talk about the slope, and you've got the river down there too, which added a more problem with draft. So you had that wind coming, coolness coming off that river, and it just, again, it was just adding to the fire and the depth of it. And you can see the flames, very, very intense.
Excellent work there from fire crews from Fieldale, Bassett, Martinsville, Dyer Store, Horse Pasture, Collinsville, all being involved in this on the fire side. Also emergency medical services crews from Henry County Public Safety, Fieldale Collinsville Rescue Squad, and Stone Ambulance involved in assisting with this firefight as well.
And I'll tell you, they really worked hard. Here they had to set up to get more water, to get as much water to it as you can. And you can see the other residents that are real close. There was another lady that was on oxygen that was taken to the hospital. You'll see that coming up. We don't know her condition at this hour.
It is thought that her injuries are not life-threatening. That's all that we know as far as specifics at this point, but you are correct. She was taken to Memorial Hospital for further treatment, and no further details available at this time. Huge amount of personnel turning out for this fire. Really quite an effort there, and of course, another challenge being in the middle of the night. It's a little bit more difficult perhaps to round up the personnel and everything that you might need, but it looks like a good turnout there.
It was, and it was their efforts that they were able to save the other structures on each side too, because that fire could have really been a lot worse with it being so close to those other residents. There's the lady that they took on oxygen to the hospital.
Bob, we certainly appreciate you bringing us this footage from the scene and your efforts in covering this fire last night. Folks, stay with us. We'll continue to bring you updates on this and other news as they become available here on Star News.